the conference session. We should be finishing around 7.
این باتریش بکنم داره تموم میشه.
Maybe. Can you hear me now? Is that okay? Okay. So the next speaker, well, two main sessions we have is Hamid Tagwai is going to talk next, and then we will have Reza Rashidi hopefully on Skype, and then we will have our plenary discussion, the panel. So I'd like to welcome Hamid Tagwai to take a seat, please, to present his speech, and I'll say a few words about Hamid. Hamid's presentation, as he will say, it is called "The Working Class as a Political Force." For most of you, Hamid doesn't need any introduction. He's an influential figure in Iranian politics, and he's the secretary of the Central Committee of the Working Communist Party of Iran. He started his political career in late 60s as a Marxist activist in Iran. He was a political prisoner for 2 years during the Shah's regime. He was a co-founder of the organization Union of Communist Militants with Mansour Hekmat during the 1979 revolution in Iran, the organization which played a very important role within the development of the left in Iran. He was a member of the founding Congress of the Communist Party of Iran, which was founded in 1983. And this is after the bloody repression of the opposition by the Islamic regime. It was following that. And he is a member of the Political Bureau of Working Communist Party of Iran, which was founded in 1991. And he's been the leader of Working Communist Party of Iran since 2004. So I'd like to welcome Hamid Tagwai.
Thank you. My speech is about the political role and political task of the working class in today's situation, Middle East, everywhere. Our conference is called Conference on Workers and Revolution. So the link between workers and revolution is politics. You cannot take part in the revolution, let alone lead this from inside your factory. You have to go out. You have to address the main issues of class struggle on that time and special time and place that the revolution is happening. As I said before, when we were talking about that draft resolution or agreement, that the question is not what we expect from the revolution. The question is what the revolution expects from the working class. Because I think without playing a political role in revolution, no revolution would be successful. And the thing that we are witnessing today, after Arab Spring, is confirming that Marxist view, that revolution in our days, in 21st century, revolution without political role of working class was nowhere. And I emphasize the political role, not the number of strikes or the way that working class take part in the revolution. That's not enough. All the revolutions are based on the shoulders of working class in that sense. As a force, as the only class in the society that wants to change everything. that revolts, that doesn't want anything to remain the same after the toppling of that dictator or that regime or whatever. That's the only working class, and it was the truth of most of the revolutions from the 20th century to up to now. From Iranian Revolution in 1979 to Egyptian Revolution, working class was the main force, no doubt about it. It has nothing to do with the ideas, with the politics, with your ideology, with if there is a party or there is not a party. That's the real fact. Working class on its shoulders built every change, even the reforms in the West, even social democracy in Scandinavia, they are all based on the shoulder of working class. Day by day, struggle of working class. I'm not talking about that. That's given. I assume that's the fact. We don't need any discussion about that. The point is the political role of working class. And that's the whole problem, I think this conference should address that question. And the network, if there's going to be a network of worker activists, that's on their table. How we go step by step to play our role as a political force in our country. And when I'm talking about the political force, I mean a force, I mean a movement, I mean a party, I mean a worker solidarity that wants to go and take the political power. You have, because capitalism is not ruling the world through the factories, by labor law only. It rules the world as a state. And as a state, it has a solution, it has a policy, it has got a strategy for everything that's happening. From the environment, to the women's rights, to the social welfare, to the culture, to the art, to the human rights, everywhere. Where is the working class on those issues? Working class is fighting for, or labor movement, as they say today, is fighting for wages. Of course, we have to fight for improvement of work conditions and living conditions. Of course, we have to do that. But as far as we do that, we are a class for ourselves. You are not a political class. As far as you are not a political class, events comes and goes, and you are always marginalized. Something happens, the question for that sort of labor movement is, what I get from that event? Is it a coup, or is it a revolution, or is it a war, or whatever it is, what I gain from that as a class that sells its labor force. Have a better condition for selling after that. And if I'm very lucky, maybe my wage from 10 goes to 12, goes to 15. Maybe my pension goes from 10 points to 20 points, if I'm lucky. But still I'm working class. Still I'm exploited. And still the system works for that 1% that rules the society. So that's that circle that Akram mentioned. This circle never ends. It is working class fighting for its conditions, by definition, is a reformist. You want some reform for you, it's good. Reform is good. Reform for betterment, for improvement, for well-being of working class. It's very good. But still, it is a reformism. We are revolutionaries. We are revolutionaries because we think reform is not enough at all. Because we don't want just to save ourselves. We want to lead society to free the whole society. That's the first lesson or the first message of the Communist Manifesto. Working class cannot be free without freeing the whole society. And here it means again politics. So that's why I'm emphasizing the role of working class as a political force. Now, this conference is about the Middle East. What's happening in the Middle East? Where ISIS come from? Where that, as I said, everybody asked me where ISIS completed, that's us too. Where are those? Why nobody can confront them? Why they gain power so fast? The worst political force that you can imagine, even you couldn't imagine, as Qasim said 6 months ago. Now they are there, they are forming a state, and they are claiming that there's some sort of a caliphate that is from Syria to Iraq and everywhere they want to do. They're creating a country. That's the difference from the Al Qaeda and the other, and Hezbollah and the rest. They are a state. They are creating a country. And the worst political force you could imagine is gaining power, and it seems that nobody challenging them, can challenge them. God, where did that come from? Is it come from Quran? Is it a repetition of Ottoman Empire or Abbasid Empire from Middle Ages or pre-Middle Ages, or is a result of today's capitalism? One meaning of politics, one meaning of working class being in politics, meaning see capitalism in its concrete political form. See the policy of capitalism, not only the labor law of capitalism. Not only they privatize or don't privatize, that's important. I'm nothing against it. Of course, austerity is a strategy, economical strategy of capitalism everywhere in the world. Because we are facing in Iran privatization, as I said, we are facing it in Iraq, and it happened in here 20 years ago. With Thatcherism and Reaganism did that. Now they finished, they are doing the same thing there. Okay, that's their political, that's their economical policy. But as far as you are fighting there, it looks like we are a class in itself, as Marx put it. We are a class in itself. You are fighting, we accept that we are working class. Now we are fighting to have a better condition. That's why I'm saying we are reformists. Syndicalism is that, it's good for them. Yeah. Again, we have nothing against them. Of course, that's the way that you have to do it. But the meaning of a life is much more than that, if you want to get a little bit philosophical. The meaning of civilization is a little bit more than that. Having a capitalist society with a well-being of working class. That's sweet. And we see that's not enough. It's not enough. So, working class in politics means that first challenge the politics of capitalists. And second, it means that go for the political power. And political power is a local issue. It's not international. You cannot topple UN. You cannot topple them. And if you are against UN or against imperialism or against world capitalism or against IMF, then you get nowhere. You are not fighting capitalism. Capitalism in politics is states, and states is a local fact. In every country you have a state. We working class, we don't believe in boundaries, we don't believe in countries, we don't believe in nations. But the reality has nothing to do with what we believe or what we like or what we don't like. The reality is the capitalists in every country, they have their own rule. Politically, economically, they rule. And we have to rule. We have to topple them. And you can do that only in your country first. You cannot jump to the Middle East without doing something in your country first. And so the second thing, the second we can say lesson, or the second rule of politics is go for political power in your country. Your enemy is not imperialism right away. It's not US. It's not foreigners. The enemy is part of the same nation, with the same culture, with the same history, with the same honors, with the same language, with the same everything. It's our own bourgeoisie. We have to fight them. What is
the relation between our bourgeoisie and US is their problem. I don't care. Who is robbing who? Who's more powerful than the other? I don't know. Is ISIS created by US or is a result of Taliban against US? Or maybe true, but I don't care. For me, for the working class, for 90% people of the world, ISIS means capitalism. Who's behind it? Arab bourgeoisie, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, US, maybe all of them, maybe none of them. Makes no difference. What I have to do, people should see that working class challenges ISIS, not NATO, not Obama. It's not the case now. Obama is more popular because it's challenging ISIS. And even Islamic Republic gets some credit because it's against ISIS. Where is working class? Fighting for wages. Where is the labor movement? It's not in politics, it's in factories, fighting against unemployment. Of course you have to fight against unemployment because you want to be alive. That's your every right. But my point is, you have to go much further. You have to build up your party. You have to go to politics. You have to organize as a social, as a class for the society, not a class for itself. Working class in politics is not a victim, it's a leader. It's a savior. It's a class that other classes, other parts, 90% of the people look up to it. To see where to go, what to do, what's the answer. Today, look, we have, in the 21st century, we have so many revolutions. And all of them, almost all of them, including October Revolution, was for some sort of change in the frame of capitalism. Against colonialism, against imperialism, for industrialization, for some reforms, for going from third world to the first world. That was the story of revolution everywhere, in China, in Vietnam, in Cuba, in everywhere. Age of Revolution was not that kind. The slogan of Age of Revolution was bread, freedom, human dignity. Nothing mentioned of against US there, and that's the power. Nothing against colonialism. Nothing for industrialization of culture. That wasn't the case 30 years ago. Egypt was the first revolution. I think, of course, the first revolution was 97 in Iran, but that's another story. In the recent years, in the 21st century, Egypt and Tunisia revolution were the first revolution that go for what working class people wants for everybody: human dignity. That's the point. Human dignity. Because that's the banner that only working class carries. Humanism, civilization, modernism, 21st century life. That's what working class, and only working class represents. I don't see any liberal, any Democrat, any other party in the world that doesn't believe, for example, in cultural relativism. You know what cultural relativism means? It means every bourgeoisie in every country can do anything they want with their working class. There is no rule, there is no standard. Don't look up at Western world. That's our own culture. You go and die with your own culture. You have your own culture. It has nothing to do in common. We don't have anything to do in common. That's cultural relativism. And liberals, and even less in Europe, believe in that. You see what I mean? When, look, once Lenin said every Democrat has to be a socialist. I think today, not only every Democrat, every liberal, every civil person, every civilized person, every decent person has to be a socialist. There is no decency anywhere else. There is no human dignity anywhere else. Only we have that banner. So that's not the meaning of being political. Look at yourself as a political force. Challenge bourgeoisie in a political state, not in the factories. That's understood. That's the fight that we have, wherever they have. Trade unions do that very well, I think. Our fight is changing the world, not just reforming capitalism. So what's happening now in Middle East? Okay, my question was where did ISIS come from? I think, I think we had three phases in the last, after the collapse of Soviet Union in the last 25, 26 years, we have three phases of political Islam. The first phase was political Islam against Soviet Union. That Taliban was a result of that, and Khomeini in Iran was another result because they had the green belt around Soviet Union. One was in Afghanistan, the other was in Iran. Against the potential danger of the left, they created Khomeini. And the same they did with Taliban against the Soviet Union. That's the first phase of what we call today political Islam. And the second phase was after the collapse of Soviet Union. They found an enemy, they built up an enemy of Al-Qaeda and the rest just for the establishing the hegemony and the dominance of USA in the post-Cold War. Because without East, West didn't make any sense anymore. So US wanted to gain power, to go back to its leadership role with the new axis of evil. And part of evil was Soviet Union gone. Now we had axis of evil with the political Islam a part of that. That was second phase of the political Islam. And now ISIS is the third. ISIS is none of them. ISIS is not against us. They don't claim that. Even in the war in Gaza, just the war that happened 1 month ago, they were not against it. Even they said that they were not against it. They said our enemy are Mortadin, or Shias. We are against Shias. So ISIS is I think political Islam, the third phrase, when political Islam it reduces to some tool for rivalry fight between different factions of states and forces in the Middle East. Nobody controls ISIS, I think. Of course, Saudi Arabia does it because it's a fight of, as Akram said, it's a proxy war in Iraq now between Iran, Turkey, Saudi Arabia. And US just playing with them to see what way to find out to have this benefits the best way. For example, they use ISIS to take down Maliki now, they want to do that for